During our final 6 years in Chiapas, we lived in the city of San Cristobal de las Casas, which gave us quick access into the Tenejapan area of the Tzeltal tribe. The Tenejapans graciously provided us with their tribal garb to wear. The road eastward passed through the Tzotzil tribal area, and just beyond the border where the Tzeltal tribal area begins is this new chapel. The congregation gathered that day for the dedication of their building. The service began in front of the church with scripture reading and prayer. Then the ribbons were cut and the door was opened. And the women's entrance was also officially opened. The men sat on the left side, and the women sat on the right. Standing next to Helen is a tall young lady from Ontario, Canada, who was visiting us. The pastor and visiting elders and the local church leaders were seated on the platform. Pastor Alonso Luna led the service, standing behind this beautifully decorated pulpit. A local group provided the special music. After the service, the congregation gathered outside for a photo. Entering the town of Tenejapa, we also visited the congregation named Canaan. Following the service there, the congregation's choir poses for a photo. Just beyond the summit of a steep ridge is the Philadelphia congregation. Their new church clings to the hillside. An instrumental group from the mother church, named Messiah, provides the music before the service. Also present is Pastor Alonso Jimenez in the white shirt. Talking to him is Diego Guzman, one of the first Tenejapan converts. He had previously served as president of Tenejapa, and his conversion gave the first believers encouragement and prestige. It was a beautiful morning, and they wait patiently for all their visitors to arrive. The outdoor service begins with a prayer of thanks and dedication. And then they open the door and stream into the sanctuary, eager to get as close to the front as possible. Following the service, this photo was taken of the 6 leaders of this congregation, who had sacrificed a great amount of time and money for the construction of their church. Every year, the Tzeltal Presbytery has 2 meetings. The main one is in January, with an extra one during the summer. This time they are gathering in the Messiah Church of the Tenejapan area. The president is Pastor Luis Sanchez of Ocosingo. Presbytery meetings include the pastors and the elder delegates from all the churches, and the meetings in January last for 5 days. Here Pastor Abdias Tovilla of the Synod of Chiapas is presenting a gift of books to the Tzeltal pastors. This group is the kitchen crew. It takes a lot of people to obtain the food and firewood and to do the cooking for 100 people for 5 days. These 4 women are the wives of the deacons, and they were in charge of the kitchen. The deacons were in charge of serving the food. They had constructed this new building to serve as the dining room. And no one went hungry. This is a unique political gathering in Tenejapa. A Mexican evangelical, Pablo Salazar, was a candidate to be a senator in the National Congress. He had previously served as the governor of Chiapas. On this day, his campaign was coming to Tenejapa. This was the official welcoming committee at the town square. The evangelicals were there in large number. Squatting before them are 3 pastors representing 3 of the tribal areas. On the left is Pastor Diego Gomez Garcia from Cancuc. In the middle is Pastor Miguel Incin of Tenejapa, and on the right is Pastor Pedro Diaz of Ocosingo. Missionary Vern Sturck arrives and is welcomed by the crowd. Vern was a personal friend of Pablo Salazar. The crowd patiently waited for the candidate's arrival. Mexicans almost always arrive late. When he arrived, the crowd followed his vehicle down the main street. Their destination was the basketball court at the other edge of town. A large crowd gathered in front of a platform with a banner in the background saying, Pablo. There was happy music from the platform. And then the political speeches. And the amazing result of his campaign was that he was elected. He was the first evangelical governor and national senator in Mexican history. The national government began opening up national tropical forest for colonization in southeast Chiapas. Some Tenejapan Tzeltals took advantage of the opportunity and became pioneers near the Guatemalan border. The Mexican government carved a road into the area, which made it possible for us to visit these new villages. Looking south from the road are the rugged hills of Guatemala. A major bridge in the road crosses over a river bringing water from Guatemala. This river winds its way eastward and eventually becomes the boundary between Mexico and Guatemala, and it ends up in the Gulf of Mexico. The Tzeltal pioneers have cut down the tropical forest and have planted corn and beans. Deforestation and erosion are going to be a problem. We stopped at the new village of Jerusalem. They were busy building this church. The congregation posed for this photo, which also shows the pile of gravel that will become a cement floor and plaster for the walls. This local instrumental group provided the special music for the worship service. Here are 3 of the leaders of the congregation, along with a young Mexican visitor who was traveling with us. Our main destination was the village of Maravilla, which would become the mother church of the area. Their church leaders awaited our arrival. Pastor Alonso Luna and some of his elders directed the service, which included the Lord's Supper. They invited Helen to give greetings and offer a prayer. Their own instrumental group provided good music. Following the service, these women asked for a photo with Helen. And then our Mexican friend took this photo of Helen and me. This is one of the many impressive families of that congregation. With such large families, they desperately needed more land and eagerly became pioneers in the tropical jungle. Near the end of the road was one final village called Ojo de Agua. They had recently built a chapel on the edge of their village. It is spectacular, rugged country where they have begun their new life. And now they are a beacon of light to that area. On our way back home, we stopped to look at one of the beautiful Montebello lakes. Our Mexican travel companion waves to the fishermen below, and then we head for home.